The blood on his hands never bothered him, until the night she walked into his penthouse wearing a maid's uniform and eyes that didn't fear him. Oh Kyungmin, Seoul's most feared mafia boss, had been abandoned by every woman who discovered his secret, left alone in a world of violence and shame until a curvy black woman with fire in her soul looked at him like he was just a man. Something inside him cracked open that night, something dangerous and desperate, and he knew with terrifying certainty that he would burn his entire empire to the ground before he let her walk away. Welcome to Afrokorea TV besties. Please like, share and subscribe. Oh Kyungmin stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse, watching Seoul's lights glitter below like fallen stars. Blood still stained his knuckles from the interrogation earlier. The man had betrayed him. The punishment had been swift. Behind him, he heard the soft click of heels on marble. His new cleaning service had sent someone at an unusual hour. He didn't turn around. "I'll be done quickly, sir," a warm voice said. American accent. Unexpected. Kyungmin finally glanced over his shoulder. The woman standing in his doorway held cleaning supplies, but that wasn't what made him freeze. She was beautiful, deep brown skin that seemed to glow in the low light, curves that her modest uniform couldn't hide, and eyes that met his directly without the usual fear he inspired. "You're not Korean," he said flatly. "No, sir. I'm Linda. The agency sent me." She smiled and something in his chest twisted painfully. "I hope that's not a problem." He turned back to the window, dismissing her with silence. But he was acutely aware of her presence as she moved through his space, humming quietly while she worked. Most people couldn't stand to be in the same room with him. They sensed the violence that clung to him like cologne. She didn't seem to notice. The next morning, Kyungmin found himself asking his assistant about the cleaning schedule. "When does the American woman come back?" His assistant Minjun raised his eyebrows. "Linda? She's scheduled for 3 times a week, sir. Is there a problem?" "No problem." But even Kyungmin could hear the lie in his own voice. That evening, he made sure to be home when she arrived. He told himself it was coincidence. He sat in his study, pretending to review documents, but his attention tracked her movements through the penthouse. She sang softly while she cleaned, old American soul songs that did something strange to the cold places inside him. "Do you need anything, sir?" Linda appeared in his doorway, her smile as warm as summer. "Why aren't you afraid of me?" The question escaped before he could stop it. She tilted her head, considering him. "Should I be? Everyone else is. Everyone else doesn't know you." She said it with such simple certainty that Kyungmin felt something inside him crack open. "I see a man who works too hard and comes home to an empty apartment. That's lonely, not scary." She left before he could respond, but her words haunted him through the night. A few days later, Kyungmin attended a meeting with his lieutenants at his private club. Business was discussed. Territory disputes, shipments, payments owed. His mind should have been focused, but instead he kept thinking about warm brown eyes and a smile that didn't judge him. "Boss, are you listening?" Park Jae-sung, his second-in-command, looked concerned. "Repeat it." After the meeting, Jae-sung pulled him aside. "You've been distracted. That's not like you." "I'm fine. If something's wrong." "I said I'm fine." Kyungmin's tone ended the conversation. But he wasn't fine and he knew it. That night, he waited for Linda again. When she arrived, he'd had his chef prepare extra food. "Have you eaten?" She looked surprised. "Sir, I'm here to work. You can't clean on an empty stomach. Sit." It wasn't a request. Linda hesitated, then sat at his dining table. Kyungmin watched her take the first bite of bulgogi, saw her eyes widen with pleasure. Something possessive and primal stirred in his chest. "This is incredible," she said. "Thank you." They ate in companionable silence. Kyungmin couldn't remember the last time he'd shared a meal with someone who wasn't conducting business or plotting his death. "Why did you come to Korea?" he asked. "I needed a fresh start. Life back home got complicated." She didn't elaborate, but he heard the pain in her voice. "Complicated how?" She met his eyes. "The kind of complicated that makes you want to disappear and become someone new. You probably understand that." He did. More than she knew. Over the following weeks, Linda's presence became the highlight of Kyungmin's existence. He rearranged his schedule to be home when she worked. He asked questions about her life, her dreams, her fears. She answered honestly without pretense. One evening he found her on his balcony, staring at the city lights. "You okay?" "Just thinking about how strange life is. 6 months ago, I was in Atlanta working 3 jobs and barely making rent. Now I'm here, cleaning a penthouse nicer than any place I've ever lived." She laughed softly. The universe has a weird sense of humor. Kyungmin moved to stand beside her. Their shoulders almost touched. "Do you regret coming here?" "No." She looked up at him, and the intensity in her eyes made his breath catch. "Especially not lately." The air between them charged with something electric. Kyungmin wanted to touch her, pull her close, taste those full lips. But he didn't. He couldn't. Because once she knew his secret, the thing that had driven away every other woman, she'd leave too. The next day, one of Kyungmin's business rivals sent a message by attacking one of his warehouses. 3 men were killed. Kyungmin's response was swift and brutal. He came home covered in blood, fury still burning through his veins. Linda was there, finishing her work. She took one look at him and set down her supplies. "You're hurt." "It's not my blood. Your knuckles are split." She disappeared into his bathroom and returned with a first aid kit. "Sit." He should have refused. He should have sent her away. Instead, he sat and let her tend to his hands with gentle efficiency. Her touch was soft, careful, and it made him want to break things all over again just so she'd touch him more. "You don't have to explain," she said quietly. "I know what you are. Everyone at the agency warned me about taking this job." His jaw tightened. "And yet you're still here. I've seen monsters, Mr. O. You're not one of them." She finished bandaging his hands and looked up at him. "Monsters don't feed hungry women or ask about their day, or look at people like they actually matter." "Linda, I should go." She pulled away, and he immediately missed her warmth. "I'll see you Thursday." After she left, Kyungmin sat in the dark, her words circling through his mind. She knew what he was and hadn't run. The realization terrified him. By the end of the week, Kyungmin had made a decision. He called the cleaning agency and requested that Linda be assigned exclusively to his penthouse. He tripled her salary. When his assistant questioned the expense, Kyungmin simply said, "Handle it." Linda arrived for her next shift looking confused. "Mr. O, the agency said my entire contract is now just your place. What's going on?" "I'm ensuring consistent service." It was a weak excuse and they both knew it. She studied him for a long moment. Consistent service. Right. But she was smiling, and Kyungmin felt something warm unfurl in his chest. "Have dinner with me tomorrow," he said abruptly. "Not here. A restaurant. Like a date. Like dinner." "That sounds like a date, Mr. O." "Kyungmin. Call me Kyungmin." He stepped closer, watching her pupils dilate. "And yes, it's a date." She bit her lip and he nearly groaned. "Okay. A date." The following evening, Kyungmin took her to one of Seoul's finest restaurants. He'd reserved the entire place, wanting privacy. Linda arrived in a simple black dress that hugged her curves and made his mouth go dry. "You look beautiful," he said, and meant it. "You look terrified," she replied, grinning. "Relax. I don't bite." Throughout dinner they talked. Really talked. She told him about growing up in Atlanta, about the family she'd left behind, about her dreams of becoming a writer. He told her carefully edited versions of his life, the business empire, the responsibilities, the isolation. "Do you have family?" she asked. "A sister. She lives in London, far from my world." "I made sure of that. You protect the people you love." "When I can." He reached across the table, covering her hand with his. "Linda, there's something you should know about me." She waited, not pulling away. "I'm not normal. Physically." He forced the words out, hating how vulnerable they made him feel. "Every woman I've been with has left because of it. I won't blame you if." "Stop." She turned her hand over, lacing her fingers with his. "Whatever you're about to say, I don't care. Bodies are just bodies, Kyungmin. It's the person inside that matters. You don't understand. Then help me understand. But don't assume I'm like those other women. I'm still here, aren't I? He looked at their joined hands, at the way her brown skin contrasted with his lighter tone, and felt something settle in his chest. Hope. Dangerous, foolish hope. Later that night, Kyungmin walked her to her small apartment in Itaewon. He'd offered to drive her, but she'd insisted on the subway. I need to remember I'm still a regular person, she'd said. At her door she turned to him. Thank you for tonight. I had a really good time. Linda. He cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheek. I'm falling for you. It's terrifying and reckless and I can't stop it. Who said I want you to stop? She rose on her toes, pressing her lips to his. The kiss was gentle at first, exploratory. Then Kyungmin's control snapped. He backed her against the door, deepening the kiss, swallowing her gasp. She tasted like the wine they'd drunk and something sweeter, something uniquely her. His hands found her waist, feeling her curves, and his body responded with painful intensity. She felt it. He knew she did. But instead of pulling away, she pressed closer, her fingers tangling in his hair. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Kyungmin rested his forehead against hers. You should go inside before I lose what's left of my control. Maybe I want you to lose control, she whispered. Not yet. Not until you know everything. He left before he could change his mind, but the taste of her haunted him all night. The next day, one of Kyungmin's business associates came to his office. Lee Sang-woo was a powerful man in his own right, controlling several nightclubs in Gangnam. He was also an arrogant bastard who thought his money made him untouchable. I heard you've been seen with a foreign woman, Sang-woo said, smirking. The black American. She's quite beautiful. If you're done with her, perhaps. Kyungmin had him by the throat before the words fully left his mouth. Finish that sentence, and I'll cut out your tongue and feed it to you. Sang-woo's eyes bulged. I didn't. I meant no disrespect. Get out. Kyungmin released him, fighting the urge to do real damage. And if I hear you've so much as looked at her, I'll kill you myself. After Sang-woo fled, Jae-sung entered the office. Boss, you need to be careful. People are talking about her. About how she's making you weak. Let them talk. They'll use her against you. They'll try. Kyungmin's voice was cold steel. And they'll die for it. That evening, Kyungmin went to Linda's apartment unannounced. He needed to see her to assure himself she was safe. But when he arrived, he found her laughing with a man outside her building, a Western guy, tall and blonde, touching her arm too familiarly. Jealousy, hot and irrational, flooded through him. He approached, his presence radiating menace. Linda. She turned, surprise flickering across her face. Kyungmin. This is Jason. A friend from the expat community. Jason, this is her boyfriend, Kyungmin said flatly, wrapping an arm around Linda's waist. And you're leaving. Jason's eyes widened. He recognized danger when he saw it. Right. See you around, Linda. After he left, Linda pulled away from Kyungmin. What was that? Who is he? I told you. A friend. We met at a language exchange. He wants more than friendship. So what if he does? You don't own me, Kyungmin. Her eyes flashed with anger, and God help him, it made him want her more. Don't I? He backed her against the wall, caging her in. Tell me you haven't been thinking about that kiss. Tell me you don't feel this thing between us. That's not the point. It's exactly the point. He lowered his head, his lips brushing her ear. You're mine, Linda. The sooner you accept that, the better. You're being ridiculous. I'm being honest. He pulled back enough to meet her eyes. I can't stand the thought of another man touching you. It makes me want to commit violence. She stared at him, then laughed breathlessly. You're actually jealous. Insanely. Good. She fisted her hands in his shirt, pulling him closer. Because I felt the same way when I heard some woman called your office 3 times yesterday trying to get your attention. I didn't take her calls. I know. Your assistant told me. She smiled. Take me out again. A real date this time where we don't talk about your business or my past. Just us. Tomorrow night, he agreed. And Linda? Jason comes near you again, I'm breaking his hands. You're insane. Only about you. The following evening, Kyungmin took her to a private beach house he owned outside the city. The sun was setting as they arrived, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. This is incredible, Linda breathed, staring at the ocean. I come here when I need to think. To remember I'm more than just the life I lead. He took her hand. I wanted to share it with you. They walked along the beach talking and laughing. Kyungmin couldn't remember ever feeling this light, this free. With Linda he could pretend he was just a man falling in love, not a mafia boss with blood on his hands. As night fell, they returned to the beach house. Kyungmin built a fire while Linda explored the space. When she found his liquor cabinet, she poured them both whiskey. To new beginnings, she toasted. To you, he countered. For seeing something in me worth saving. They drank, and the conversation grew deeper, more intimate. Linda told him about the abusive relationship she'd fled in America, the scars it had left. Kyungmin told her about his childhood, the poverty, the violence, the choices that had led him to this life. We're both running from something, she said softly. Maybe that's why we found each other. I'm done running. He set down his glass and moved closer. I want to stay right here with you. Linda's breath caught. Kyungmin, I need to tell you. About my body. He forced the words out. I'm larger than normal. Significantly. Every woman has found it painful, impossible. They've all left. She cupped his face. Do I look like I'm leaving? You don't understand how much. Then show me. She kissed him, silencing his protests. Show me everything and let me decide for myself. The kiss turned desperate, hungry. Kyungmin lifted her, and she wrapped her legs around his waist. He carried her to the bedroom, laying her down with a gentleness that belied his need. If it hurts, if it's too much, you tell me, he said, his voice rough. I trust you. Those 3 words undid him completely. He made love to her slowly, carefully, watching her face for any sign of pain. But there was only pleasure, only her gasping his name and pulling him closer. She took all of him, her beautiful curvy body, accepting what others had rejected. Afterward, as they lay tangled together, Kyungmin felt tears slip down his cheeks. Linda wiped them away. You're perfect, she whispered. Every part of you. He held her like she might disappear, overwhelmed by the acceptance, the love in her eyes. For the first time in his adult life he wasn't alone. The next morning, Kyungmin woke to find Linda dressing quietly. Where are you going? Back to the city. I have things to do. Something in her tone made him sit up. Linda. Last night was amazing. But I should go. She wouldn't meet his eyes. Fear, cold and sharp, lanced through him. You're running. I'm not. You are. You think last night changed things. That now I'll discard you or... Don't. Her voice cracked. Don't pretend you know what I'm thinking. He was out of bed in an instant, blocking her path. Then tell me. Every man I've ever been with has left after they got what they wanted. Every single one. Tears streamed down her face. I can't do this, Kyungmin. I can't give you my heart just to have it destroyed. I'm not them. You say that now. I'm not them. He grabbed her shoulders, gentle but firm. Last night wasn't about sex. It was about you seeing all of me and staying. Do you have any idea what that means? You're the first person who's ever... His voice broke. Don't leave. Please. Linda stared at him, seeing the raw vulnerability in his eyes, and something in her seemed to crumble. I'm scared. Me too. Terrified. He pulled her close. But I'm more scared of losing you. Stay. Let me prove I'm different. She buried her face in his chest, and he felt her nod. Relief flooded through him so intensely it was almost painful. They returned to Seoul together, but the peace didn't last long. That afternoon, Kyungmin received word that one of his shipments had been intercepted. 3 of his men were dead. Someone was making a move against him. It's the Choi Syndicate, Jae-sung reported. They're trying to take over our territory. Kyungmin's expression hardened. Set up a meeting. Boss, they won't negotiate. This is war. Then we give them war. But even as he planned his response, part of his mind was on Linda. She was a target now, whether she knew it or not. Anyone close to him was. That evening, he found her at his penthouse cooking dinner. The domestic scene made his chest ache. You shouldn't be here. Where else would I be? Linda, something's happening in my world. It's not safe. So make it safe. She turned to face him. Or let me help. Absolutely not. Kyungmin. No. You stay out of this. His tone was harder than he'd intended. I won't risk you. They argued, tension rising until Linda threw down her spatula. I'm not some porcelain doll. I can handle myself. Not against these people. He grabbed her wrist, desperate to make her understand. They'll torture you to hurt me. They'll make you scream until I break. Is that what you want? She paled but didn't back down. What I want is to not be shut out. I'm protecting you. By pushing me away? She pulled free. I've had enough of men who think they know what's best for me. She left and Kyungmin let her go, hating himself but knowing it was necessary. Until the threat was eliminated, she needed to stay far away. But Linda had other plans. A few days later, Kyungmin learned she'd been asking questions about his business at her language exchange. Jason, the blonde idiot, had been giving her information, trying to impress her. Kyungmin had Jason brought to his office. The man arrived terrified as he should be. You've been talking about me, Kyungmin said quietly. I didn't mean, Linda asked. And you thought satisfying her curiosity was worth your life? He circled Jason like a predator. Everything you told her has put her in more danger. Did you think about that? Or were you too busy trying to get into her bed? I'm sorry. I'll tell her to stop asking. You'll tell her nothing. You'll never speak to her again. Kyungmin leaned close. And if I find out you've disobeyed me, I'll ensure you spend the rest of your short life regretting it. He had Jason thrown out, then called Linda. She didn't answer. He tried her apartment, she wasn't there. His unease grew into full-blown panic. Find her, he ordered Jae-sung. Now. Took 2 hours. 2 hours of Kyungmin imagining the worst, of his control fraying at the edges. When Jae-sung finally called, his voice was grim. She's at the Choi Syndicate's club. Boss, they have her. The world went red. Kyungmin assembled his men with cold efficiency. They would hit the club hard and fast. Anyone who stood in his way would die. Anyone who touched her would beg for death. Boss, Jae-sung said quietly. This is what they wanted. They're baiting you. I don't care. Kyungmin loaded his gun. His hand steady despite the fury burning through him. They took something that belongs to me. I'm taking it back. We're with you. They hit the club at midnight. Gunfire erupted immediately. Kyungmin moved through the chaos like death incarnate, cutting down anyone in his path. His focus was singular, find Linda. He found her in a back room, tied to a chair but unharmed. When her eyes met his, relief and fear warred in their depths. You came, she whispered. Always. He cut her free, checking her for injuries. Did they hurt you? No. They just wanted you to come. She grabbed his arm. Kyungmin, it's a trap. The door burst open. Choi Min-ho, head of the rival syndicate, stood there with a gun pointed at Linda. Hello, oh, he said, smiling. So good of you to join us. Kyungmin moved in front of Linda instantly. This is between us. Let her go. But she's the whole point. You've been untouchable for years. No weaknesses, no vulnerabilities. Then this woman appears and suddenly you're human. Choi's smile widened. She's your weakness, oh. And weaknesses get exploited. Last chance. Let her go and I'll make your death quick. Bold words for a man with no leverage. Choi cocked his gun. Maybe I'll kill her first. Let you watch her die knowing it's your fault. Everything slowed down. Kyungmin saw Choi's finger tighten on the trigger. Saw Linda's eyes widen. Saw his own death in that moment because if she died, he would follow her into darkness. He moved. The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. But it wasn't Linda who fell. Kyungmin had drawn and fired in one fluid motion, his bullet taking Choi between the eyes. The rival boss dropped, dead before he hit the ground. Boss! Jae-sung appeared with more men. We've secured the building. Kyungmin holstered his gun and turned to Linda. She was shaking, shock setting in. He pulled her into his arms, holding her so tightly he probably hurt her. But he couldn't let go. You're okay. You're safe. I've got you. She clung to him and he felt her tears soaking his shirt. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought if I understood your world better, I could help, but I just made everything worse. Shoo. Not your fault. He stroked her hair, breathing her in. Never your fault. They left the club, leaving his men to handle cleanup. Kyungmin took Linda to the beach house, needing to get her far from the violence. She didn't speak during the drive, just held his hand like a lifeline. At the house, he ran her a bath and sat with her while she soaked, afraid to leave her alone. When she finally emerged, wrapped in one of his robes, her eyes were red but dry. I could have gotten you killed, she said. You didn't. But I could have. Because I was stupid and reckless and... Stop. He cupped her face, forcing her to look at him. Yes, you were reckless. Yes, it was dangerous. But you're here and you're alive and that's all that matters. How can you not be angry? Oh, I'm furious. I want to lock you up somewhere safe where nothing can ever touch you. He pressed his forehead to hers. But I also understand why you did it. You wanted to be part of my world. To understand me completely. I almost cost you everything. You are everything. The words tore out of him. Don't you understand that yet? My empire, my power, my reputation, none of it means anything if you're not here. I'd burn it all down for you. I'd walk away from everything. Linda stared at him, tears spilling over. You mean that? With every breath in my body. He kissed her, pouring all his fear and love and desperation into it. I love you, Linda. I've loved you since the moment you looked at me without fear. And I'll spend every day proving I'm worthy of you. You already are. She kissed him back, and this time when they came together it was different. Slower. More intense. A reaffirmation of life, of choice, of love stronger than death. Afterward, Linda curled against his chest. What happens now? Now I end this war permanently. I consolidate power, eliminate threats, make sure no one ever dares come after you again. His arm tightened around her. And then I marry you. She lifted her head. What? Marry me, Linda. Be mine in every way. Let me protect you, cherish you, love you for the rest of our lives. He wasn't asking. He was promising. I know it's fast, I know it's dangerous, but I don't care. I want you as my wife. Kyungmin. Say yes. She searched his eyes, then smiled. That beautiful smile that had captivated him from the beginning. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. He kissed her again, sealing the promise. Outside, dawn was breaking over the ocean, painting the sky in shades of hope. For the first time, Kyungmin looked toward the future and saw something other than darkness. The following weeks were a storm of violence and victory. Kyungmin dismantled the Choi syndicate piece by piece, absorbing their territory, their resources, their remaining men. Those who resisted disappeared. Those who surrendered were given a choice. Loyalty or death. Seoul's underworld learned quickly. Oh, Kyungmin was not to be crossed, especially when it came to the woman he loved. Linda stayed at the beach house during the worst of it, guarded by Kyungmin's most trusted men. He hated being apart from her, but he wouldn't risk her safety again. Every night, no matter how late, he called her. Heard her voice. Reminded himself why he was doing this. It's almost over. He told her one night, exhausted and blood-stained. A few more days and I can come home to you. I'm not going anywhere, she promised. Just come back to me in one piece. Always. By the end of the month, the war was won. Kyungmin's empire had doubled in size, his power absolute. He'd lost men, good men, but he protected what mattered most. The day he returned to the beach house, Linda met him at the door. She took one look at him, the exhaustion, the weight of what he'd done, and simply opened her arms. He walked into her embrace and finally let himself break. She held him while he shook, whispering words of love and comfort, reminding him he was more than the violence. You did what you had to do, she said softly. But it's over now. Come back to me. All the way back. He lifted his head, meeting her eyes. I'm here. I'm yours. Good. Because we have a wedding to plan. The next day, Kyungmin made calls. If he was marrying Linda, he'd do it right. Traditional and modern, Korean and American. A celebration that honored both of them. His sister flew in from London, shocked but delighted. Linda's mother and sister came from Atlanta, nervous but warming quickly to Kyungmin when they saw how he looked at their daughter. "He loves her," Linda's mother Grace said to him privately. "I can see it. But I need to know, will she be safe with you?" "I die first," Kyungmin answered honestly. "Everything I've built, everything I've done since meeting her, it's all to keep her safe, to give her the life she deserves." Grace studied him then nodded. "Then you have my blessing. But hurt her and I don't care how powerful you are. I'll make you regret it." He smiled for the first time in weeks. "I'd expect nothing less." The wedding was held at a private estate outside Seoul. Cherry blossoms in full bloom. Linda wore a dress that was part traditional hanbok, part modern gown. Cream silk embroidered with delicate flowers, fitting her curves perfectly. When Kyungmin saw her walking toward him, his breath stopped. She was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. The ceremony blended traditions, vows and vows, East and West, two worlds coming together. When the officiant pronounced them married, Kyungmin kissed his wife like she was oxygen and he was drowning. The guests cheered but he barely heard them. All that mattered was Linda, smiling against his lips, whispering, "I love you. I love you more," he whispered back. "My wife." The reception was lavish food, music, dancing. Kyungmin's men celebrated alongside Linda's family, an unlikely mix that somehow worked. Jae-sung gave a speech about how he'd never seen the boss smile until Linda appeared. Linda's sister teased her about finally finding someone who could handle her stubbornness. As the night wore on, Kyungmin pulled Linda away from the crowd. They stood under the stars, her head on his shoulder, his arms around her waist. "Happy?" he asked. "Beyond words." She turned in his arms. "Thank you for not giving up on me. On us. Never. You're stuck with me now." "Good. Because I have news." She bit her lip, nervous excitement in her eyes. "I was going to wait but I can't keep it in anymore. Chun. I'm pregnant." He froze, the words not quite registering. "You're about 6 weeks along. I found out a few days ago, but with everything happening, I wanted to wait for the right moment." She searched his face anxiously. "Say something." Kyungmin cupped her face, his hands trembling. "We're having a baby." "We're having a baby," she confirmed, laughing through sudden tears. He kissed her deeply, joy exploding through him like light. A wife. A child. A family. Things he'd never imagined having, never thought he deserved. And yet here they were, real and solid in his. "I'm going to be a father," he said, awed. "The best father. I know it." Linda placed his hand on her still flat stomach. "Our baby is going to be so loved. So protected. So spoiled," he added, making her laugh. "I'm buying everything. The best nursery, the best clothes, the best. Kyungmin, we have 9 months. I'm starting now." She shook her head but she was smiling. "You're impossible. And you love me anyway." "I really do." They returned to the reception, but Kyungmin couldn't stop touching her hand, her waist, her stomach. His wife. His child. His whole world contained in this one beautiful, brave, perfect woman. Later that night, in their suite, Linda traced the scars on his chest. "What are you thinking? That I don't deserve this? You, the baby, this happiness? I've done terrible things, Linda. Taken lives. Destroyed families. And you've also protected people. Built something from nothing. Loved me when I needed it most." She kissed his chest right over his heart. "You're not defined by your worst moments, Kyungmin. You're defined by what you choose now with the people you love. I choose you. Always." Then that's enough. The months that followed were a revelation. Kyungmin scaled back his involvement in the more violent aspects of his business, delegating to trusted lieutenants. He wanted to be present for Linda's pregnancy, for every doctor's appointment, every milestone. He converted an entire room in the penthouse into a nursery, personally overseeing every detail. Linda indulged him, amused by his intensity. When she suggested he was going overboard, he simply said, "My child will have everything I didn't." As her belly grew, so did his protectiveness. He hired a full-time doctor to be on call. He had security doubled. He researched pregnancy obsessively, driving Linda crazy with his constant monitoring. "Kyungmin, I'm pregnant, not made of glass," she'd say. "You're carrying my child. You're precious. Let me take care of you. She'd roll her eyes, but she'd also smile. Because underneath the over-the-top behavior was pure, overwhelming love. 6 months into the pregnancy, they learned they were having a girl. Kyungmin wept when the doctor told them. A daughter. His daughter. He'd protect her with everything he had. Give her the world, make sure she never knew the hardships he'd endured. She's going to have you wrapped around her little finger, Linda teased. Completely. And I don't care. As Linda's due date approached, Kyungmin became increasingly anxious. What if something went wrong? What if he failed them? Linda, sensing his fear, took his hands. Listen to me. We're going to be okay. All 3 of us. You fought wars, built an empire, survived things that would destroy most people. You can handle this. What if I'm a terrible father? Impossible. I've seen how you love. How you protect. Our daughter is the luckiest girl in the world, because she gets you as her dad. She pressed his hand to her belly. Feel that? She knows your voice. She knows you already. And she loves you. The baby kicked against his palm, and Kyungmin felt his anxiety ease. His girls. His family. 3 weeks later, Linda went into labor. Kyungmin, for all his power and control, was absolutely useless. He paced, he demanded updates every 30 seconds. He threatened the medical staff when Linda cried out in pain. Mr. Oh, you need to calm down, the doctor said firmly. Don't tell me to calm down. My wife is in pain. Kyungmin. Linda's voice strained but amused. Come here. He rushed to her side, taking her hand. I'm here. I'm right here. Stop terrorizing the staff and help me breathe through these contractions. He did as told, coaching her through each wave of pain, whispering encouragement, telling her how strong she was, how much he loved her. Hours passed in a blur of intensity and fear and anticipation. And then finally a cry split the air. It's a girl, the doctor announced, placing the baby on Linda's chest. Kyungmin stared at his daughter, tiny, perfect, utterly miraculous. She had Linda's full lips in his eyes. When Linda placed her in his arms, he was terrified he'd break her. Hello, little one, he whispered. I'm your Appa. I'm going to love you and protect you for the rest of my life. Nothing will ever hurt you. I promise. The baby grasped his finger with surprising strength, and Kyungmin fell completely, irrevocably in love for the second time in his life. They named her Jiwoo Graceso, Jiwoo for wisdom and grace, Grace for Linda's mother. She was perfect in every way, and Kyungmin was utterly besotted. You're staring again, Linda said, 3 days after bringing Jiwoo home. I can't help it. Look at her. He was holding his daughter, watching her sleep. She's perfect. She is. Just like her father. He looked up, meeting Linda's eyes. I never thought I could have this. A family. Love. Peace. And yet here we are. Here we are, he echoed. My beautiful wife. My perfect daughter. My everything. Linda came to sit beside him, resting her head on his shoulder. I'm proud of you, you know, for choosing this. For choosing us over the darkness. Easiest choice I ever made. He kissed her forehead, then Jiwoo's. You saved me, Linda. Before you I was just surviving. Now I'm living. We saved each other. They sat in comfortable silence, watching their daughter sleep. Outside, Seoul's lights glittered against the night sky. Somewhere out there, Kyungmin's empire continued to run. Business deals were made, territories managed, power maintained. But here in this moment he was just a man holding his child, sitting beside the woman he loved. Just a husband and father, grateful for second chances and brave women who saw past the monster to the man beneath. I love you, he said softly. I love you too, Linda replied. My big, terrifying, impossibly gentle mafia boss. He smiled. Your mafia boss. Mine. And as Jiwoo stirred in his arms, making soft baby sounds, Kyungmin knew with absolute certainty that he'd found what he'd been searching for his entire life. Home. Not a place, but these two people. His wife, his daughter, who'd taken a man drowning in darkness and shown him light. Years from now, he'd tell Jiwoo the story of how he met her mother. How a beautiful, brave woman walked into his life wearing a maid's uniform and changed everything. How she'd loved him despite his flaws, his past, his scars. How she'd given him hope when he had none. But tonight, He simply held his family close and thanked whatever force in the universe had brought Linda into his world. Because of her courage, her love, her unwavering faith in him, Oh Kyung-min, feared mafia boss, powerful crime lord, untouchable emperor, had become something far more important. A husband, a father, a man worthy of love. And that was the greatest victory of all. Thank you for watching this story unfold, besties. Oh Kyung-min and Linda's journey from darkness to light, from isolation to family, proves that love can conquer even the most impossible circumstances. If you enjoyed their story, please like, share and subscribe to Afrokorea TV for more emotional romantic tales. Drop a comment telling us what you'd name their second baby. Until next time, besties, remember that sometimes the most powerful people just need someone brave enough to see their heart. 2 hearts.